You go ahead.
Okay, I'm Renie Carniol. I'm the director of the Grotta Fund for Senior Care. We're a philanthropic group that was created from the sale of a nursing home that was actually in West Orange. And our grant dollars are awarded in a geographic area in Essex, Union, Morris, Sussex, and Eastern Somerset counties. We're quite small, so we're very targeted at what we do. But we're really happy to be here today and say that we've been enjoying a collaborative funding partnership with the Taub Foundation. And now I'm really thrilled to turn over and invite Julia to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julia Stoumbos from the Henry and Marilyn Taub Foundation. We grant about 18 to 20 projects every year in our Aging in Place portfolio. Really happy to be here with all of you today and to talk a little bit with Renie, our funding partner, about our partnership for aging and age-friendly communities, and then give you a chance to ask questions and just hear from you what your interest is, what you'd like to talk about during our time together, which is short.
So please take yourselves off mute and tell us some particular areas you would like to know so we can make your time most worthwhile. Anne.
If your funding partnership is, I need to understand exactly what it is. Is if one wants to apply, does one apply to you, Renie, or does we apply to Julia, or we apply to you in common?
So each of us have a geographic limited area that we fund. So that's one of the reasons why it's been really a pleasure to partner with a funder that funds a different geographic area, but at the same time working in the larger New Jersey age-friendly coalition. We're really trying to make sure that other areas beyond our communities, which we fund, start. So right now, we are not open for additional funding in the age-friendly space at this point. And the Taub Foundation is in Bergen County, so their funding area is a little different from yours. And Julia, do you want to add to that?
Sure. Yes, we're in our catchment area is Bergen and Passaic counties, and we've been in this age-friendly community work for 6 years right now at this point with Renie and her community foundation, and we are continuing to support the age-friendly community work in different ways in our area. Again, focused on Bergen and Passaic counties. But there are opportunities to get involved in this work and in our alliance in other ways also than receiving grant funding. But Renie and I are also going to try to share with you a few other ideas for resources for your work. But really one great resource is our alliance, and you're welcome to attend our meetings and do some peer learning with the other groups and share best practices and learn from them. But we'd be happy to tell you about any other opportunities that we know of for actual financial resources for your work.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I work with Volunteer Guardianship One-on-One. I'm a new executive director, and we train and recruit, train, support volunteers in a one-on-one match with people in need of guardianship. So those are folks with dementia, primarily, that have nobody else. So kind of the guardianship of last resort. And it differs from what the state offers. The state offers, you know, they have employees and they carry caseloads, or maybe an attorney does it. So ours is more of a very personal type of relationship. I think of it as like the big brothers and sisters of, you know, in a senior way. So we're based out of Hunterdon County. We were founded a long time ago, well, not that long, 1996. So we're in our 26th year, but we've remained small. We haven't really been able to branch out. We're looking at moving into Morris County right now. And I'm trying to put together a grant proposal we just want to like embed a volunteer coordinator there to recruit people and to be a person that you could refer a person in need of guardianship to. So as I'm putting together sort of the proposal, I'm looking at who funds in Morris County, who funds this type of work in Morris County. And so do you think so I'm going to put together like a little list and how much we might approach each for, because I think foundations, correct me if I'm wrong, like to kind of work in partnership with each other like you two are. But should I talk to them both first, do you suppose? Talk to the 5 or 6 people I'm
So-
identifying, or how would you recommend approaching that?
So I think what I'd like to focus on today is our age-friendly development. But your question is a very good one. Perhaps at another time we can connect. Ruth, I see your hand is up.
Yes, ma'am. Can you please give us some examples of projects you funded?
Okay, so I think this brings us right exactly to our next, unless there are any other questions that I don't see. I think we're going to launch in immediately to what we've done with our age-friendly work.
Renie, before you jump in, I think, hi, Amy, really nice to see you again. Do you have something you'd like to add?
Oh,
Well,
yes.
it's really so good to see you both again. And I just want to say, you know, because I hear a lot of questions that are kind of going in a different direction. So before we even do that, I just want to say the importance and the power of foundations working together, given their individual missions and their individual focus, the importance of their coming together around the work in age-friendly New Jersey. Because any one entity really couldn't do the work that needs to be accomplished in the state. So this is about from a community entities being able to come together, but also about funders coming together. And so, I just want to say my huge thanks and praise to you for what you're doing. And then I'll turn it back.
Thank you, Amy. It does allow us to go further together, and we'll talk a little bit about what we've done, because I see we heard a question about what we fund, but yes, it's more than just, like Renie says, it's more than just the 1 + 1 = 2. It really takes you into a different ability to make progress together. So thanks for pointing that out.
And thank you for all your inspiration. Amy's been an inspiration to the Grotta Fund for many years, so I have to make sure and say a special thank you. And I hope you'll chime in to one of our little bit later slides, because I think it's really important. So, but for now, I'd like to walk us through a little bit of the timeline of how we worked together. And we found a path to work together, starting with, and Julia, do you want to start?
Sure. So this is first giving full credit to Rutgers School of Social Work for the slide. Several of the slides in our deck here, we only have a few, were borrowed, and that's from the research and evaluation that Rutgers School of Social Work under Dr. Emily Greenfield has been following along with our age-friendly work. So in 2015, Renie and I decided we had been hearing about age-friendly communities in our conferences we attend. The grant makers in aging in particular had come to a point where they had started this work and evaluated it, and we understood that it was something we would really like to see happening in New Jersey. So we held a conference. We brought people together, such as Amy and her colleagues and people from other foundations and from nonprofits around the country that were working on this, to get people in New Jersey excited about it. 9 communities applied for and received planning grants to get started and to do assessments in their communities. That was our first cohort of age-friendly community leaders that got started in 2016. Yeah, and Renie, I'll hand over the middle part to you to describe sort of what's been happening in the interim.
Sure. You can see that what we've done is additional efforts to extend the age-friendly efforts, as we saw that it takes more time than we initially thought to really organize and know your communities, get buy-in by your community members, put together planning grants, apply to AARP if they wanted to become designated age-friendly. And what we did as 2 funders is we came together with common applications, so that an applicant could see the same questions if they were from Bergen County or Bergen or Passaic as with ours. And as funding partners, that's not common for those of you that are unfamiliar, but we really wanted as a group to be able to optimize the knowledge of each of our groups and the knowledge that we could achieve by both through a conference when we started and through our continued learning. So we I'm going to turn it over to you where we are going forward,
Sure.
because I think those are really important points.
Yes, they are important points. And we've been trying to be flexible and responsive to what people experienced all during COVID and the types of community work that they could actually accomplish and do during that time. Our age-friendly community leaders, of course, sprung into action during COVID and responded with the stakeholder groups they had built up to that point, which I think was positioning their communities to actually be much more advanced in how they could handle questions and communications and getting people vaccines and all of those things. They were well poised to handle that. So in 2021, we decided that what we needed was more of a structure to help, because the groups were growing and their needs were from us were also growing. And our partnership with Rutgers has helped us so much in that, organizing meetings and choosing speakers, all of those things have been really organized under a structure now, and we have called ourselves the Age-Friendly North Jersey Alliance. We have a website and we share learning, and I think Althea already put up a sign that we only have maybe 5 minutes left. So we're continuing this work. We welcome other communities to join in and to participate in our monthly meetings for shared learning and for helping us actually build this ship as we're sailing it. This is, yeah, this, did you want to describe this, Renie? It's just the Alliance now has formed more of a group, more of a formal network together. And this is our one pager that describes the Alliance. We feel very happy that we've reached this point.
And we're thrilled to build onto this network, which is why we want all of you to connect with us in any way you can. I think what's really important is in this slide, which really shows that an age-friendly group is an ecosystem. And age-friendly efforts are connectors that connect existing services at the public level as well as at the community level. It's a voice of older adults, but it's really targeted to what would improve the community and what would improve all of the stakeholders that we show on this chart. And this ecosystem is all about how do we optimize wins for everyone. That's one of the main goals of an age-friendly system. Julia, would you like to add?
Perfect. No, you covered it. I want to make sure we have time to answer a few questions about, for example, Anne's question about funding. I have an idea to share at the end.
Right. So I really think that one of our goals is that we encourage and we enthusiastically support continual learning together. To allow groups to regroup, to acknowledge that things moving forward sometimes is taking a couple of steps backwards, but jointly learning together and seizing the opportunity to move ahead as we help each other through this journey forward. Julia, would you like to add to this as well?
That's hits the nail on the head. I think we've the fact that we've continually met with each other month by month by month throughout these last 5-6 years. We used to be in person with the wonderful breakfasts and, sharing of community in that way, but still maintaining it on virtually during the past couple of years has helped us all understand some of the challenges, admit to our failures, right? And acknowledge the successes and just hear from each other and stay in touch and grab great ideas from each other. It's a way to move together further and in more depth and understanding what people have been facing in their communities on an individual level throughout this period.
I think we're quite proud of the learning that we have been able to direct, but it's really been led by the groups as to what they would like to learn. And at times the groups meet together without us. I've once wanted to be a spy in the window of some of the sessions, but we actually believe this is the way most groups learn. And many of our groups have actually successfully formed groups within their county and furthered efforts during COVID, further efforts during IDA, and then shared across the system and say, well, what did you do? And how can I learn from you? So when we see that learning across communities occur, we think we as funders are really leveraging the learning that we're able to do, the funding that we're able to give and the progress for age friendly that will happen beyond when our funding ends. So I know on our write-up, we wanted to give you some tips about applying for grants and working with funders, because there's a saying that many of us have heard, and some of you may have heard, that when you apply to one, when you meet one funder, you've met one funder. Every funder is unique, but I think that it's really important to understand the uniqueness of funders. Julia, I know you're going to address this.
That's fine. Yes, I'd be happy to talk about that. We were just suggesting here, and I think all of you are very well versed in applying for grants. We weren't quite sure who the audience would be, so we wanted to be prepared to help you understand that it's helpful to you to understand the mission, the values of the funder that you are applying to. Our foundation accepts proposals by invitation only. So it's not by that happens organically by meeting nonprofits in the community and hearing about other nonprofits word of mouth from the leaders who we've developed relationships with and built trust. And so we start off with a conversation and a sort of a get to know you process. And as it becomes clear that there is a great alignment between your work and what you're good at and what your organization wants to achieve and ours, then that relationship develops further. And so we do have our geographic limitations, as do many grant making organizations. And the duration of grants from one foundation to another varies. The trend is to increase the multi-year funding to make that process reflective of the reality that a nonprofit is living in terms of how long it takes to implement a program and to get to the outcomes that we all want to see. It can't be done, usually can't be done in 6 or 12 months, but we really understand that takes dedication from your team and time. So these are conversations that we encourage you to have with any foundation that you're considering trying to build a relationship with.
The next aspect is about communications. And this, while Grotta does have an open process at different times of the year, we've learned to be a little more flexible with our schedule than a strict January and July timeline, as we want to really research areas that we can prioritize so that we can do some larger grants in some area in our geography focused on a targeted issue, just as we have done with Age Friendly. And we've awarded smaller grants in response to particular challenges at particular points in time, such as during COVID. So again, our mission is to improve the lives of older adults in our geography. And some of our values are, just as Julia's, to try to create a sense of openness and understanding about the issues. Addressing communications, I think one of the most important parts that we find is when we work with a nonprofit, to please be sure you and express your clear vision of what kind of changes, what do you really want to make, and as what are your needs in your community. Help us learn from you so that we can see if there's alignment. When there's alignment, we know we can optimize our efforts, not only our dollars, but our time and our support to you. When you're looking at applications, really try to be very specific about articulating the problem, your aims, your opportunities, and potentially your challenges. We're okay with understanding challenges because then we don't see any surprises along the road. Plus, we know, and just as mentioned in the next note, that being honest about your needs and strengths really helps us make sure we're a match. We encourage our nonprofits, our grantees, to ask for help. And often this is an opportunity to work with both our council members, and I'm pleased to see Judy Sills, our chair, is in this group. Our council members, our deciders of grants, are also experts in many areas, and it's a great opportunity to reach out to us, as long as my larger network within the Jewish community through the Federation and our agencies that are involved with us. So please ask for help, learn from others, be nimble. We expect you to perhaps change what you're doing. That's okay. Don't think you have to stick to what you said in the beginning, but be honest and share if you're making changes. Share your successes and the value of your organization to your higher ups in your organization and to the community. We feel the community should know what you're doing, and the voice of what you do should be out there, not so much from us, but from the whole community.
Yeah, I think we probably ran out of time.
Oh, but please feel free to reach out to us with any questions.
And I have some suggestions for you, and I will share them with you if we get to do that at a later time. That's part of being in the network. We share grant opportunities all the time on our listserv and on our Padlet for all kinds of programs that you're running, individual programs, and we are happy to connect you with other funders that we know of who are funding the things you're involved in. For example, recently, one of our groups is doing a senior check writing and financial assistance program, and they got grant funding from Bergen County's Division of Senior Services. The AAAs often will support programs that you're running in the community and others like that.